Alright, guys, I want to talk about this. So, news broke yesterday. Victoria Alonso apparently has exited Marvel Studios. She got fired. She got fired. Let's call it what it is. She got fired. She got fired for many things. Marvel, for the last several months, have been having a burst with their films. Thor: Love and Thunder was supposed to... We'll go back to Doctor Strange, because that's where it really started. Doctor Strange was supposed to make $1 billion. It didn't. Because after Spider-Man No Way Home, you thought it was going to make $1 billion. But it didn't. That's fine. It made what? Close to what the original did. So I think it made a little bit more. That was fine. Then we heard rumors that VFX were issues under her thing, because she runs the VFX too. We were hearing rumors about they're not good because of TV shows and everything. The Marvels came out, was not watched, no buzz. If you do a streaming show, you need two things: is views and buzz. If you have the buzz, then majority of the time you have the views. If you don't have the buzz, you don't have the views, and that's kind of where things are with a lot of times with shows now. Netflix does it a different way. They go by the last view count. It's weird, but buzz do help it. That's why Netflix will always stay in business, even though they got a lot of, they're in so much debt. They have the thing of buzz. A lot of Netflix shows will always be ranked to top 10 or top. They've always ranked that. And HBO is starting to see that with The Last of Us. Anyway, so that was another thing. Then, what was the other film? Thor: Love and Thunder came out. Right around the same time as Miss Marvel's was still airing. And that was panned. People did not like that one. As a matter of fact, that was the worst Thor film out, even Dark of the World. Even I can find enjoyment out of Dark of the World because of the story they were trying to tell with the death of Loki and Thor's mother. And there's something there. There was story there. Was it executed perfectly? No, but there was story there. We get even further. We get further down into it. We get to Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That was supposed to make $1 billion. That did not make $1 billion. That actually stopped at 800 million, less than the predecessor. That wasn't a good look. And fans kept talking about, where's Black Panther? If you got Black Panther at the title, he should have been throughout the whole film. Excuse me, she should have been throughout the whole film. Spoiler alert. But she wasn't. Moving on. Then Ant-Man Wasp, Quantumania, bombed. Fucking bombed. I'll talk about Shazam in a minute. That is a glorified bomb. World Trade Center, bomb. But we'll talk about that later. But this was bombed. And the VFX didn't look good. It looked cheaply made. And now Bob Iger came in trying to figure out, okay, we got to figure something out. So he fired her, which they should have. Because a woman, when she said, oh, we should take the men out of the X-Men because that's so outdated. Excuse me, the X-Men means men and women. Women, not women. Well, no, excuse me, sorry. She wanted to remove the men because it's just talk about men. It didn't talk about man, like woman. She wanted to call it X, just X, because it has the men in the title. No, the X-Men sells before its name value. Say what you want about the Fox films, but they sell. Not X-Man, not M-A-N. She was looking probably trying to call it the X-Force, which is not a bad title, but those titles never sold because they weren't the X-Men. You never change the title to fit your narrative and your political agenda. Don't do that because you're just going to lose the fan base. And then I hate how she says, because we need more women in the X-Men. X-Men has, out of all Marvel, out of all even DC, the team that has the most women is the X-Men. Rogue, Storm, Psylocke, Emma Frost, Kitty Pryde, Mystique, Rogue. I think I say Rogue, right? Scarlet Witch. She's part of the X-Men or Brotherhood. Polaris, Magneto's other daughter. The triplets. The X-Men have, when you look at women in comics, you go to the X-Men because they have the most richest woman characters in all of comics. They're colorful, they're organic, they are different in their own right. You cannot find a better suitable, and you can find any woman for X-Men because they have enough of them. When it comes to that mutant era, that you go to that. Okay? The problem I have with her is she don't go by source material. She's like, oh, that's outdated. Not saying, hold on a minute, lady. There's enough characters we can play around with this. Now, if they want to do a story where Emma Frost has her own Hellfire Club or Emma Frost have her own studio with women, you can do that in storyline purposes where she's been wronged by a man, which is fine. I think that's another cop-out, but that's understandable if it fits the context of the fucking story. This lady wasn't trying to fit nothing in no context. She was just trying to do what she wanted to do because she can do it. Fuck off. Fuck you and screw you. And that's the problem I have with these people like her. They got in power. They're like, look, for so long we had men rule the world. Let's do something different. It's been a disaster over at Marvel, and she's been one of the cause. There's other pawns over there and other suits that need to go, but she's one of them. The head honcho. They cut off one head of the snake, but there's other heads that need to be cut off. But her leaving is a good sign of things to come. Did I think she's been there for 2 decades? She's been in the MCU since 2005. She's been there with Kevin Feige since the day one. The problem is her ideas are shit because they're not working. The Eternals is a bomb. Black Widow was a bomb. Shang-Chi was a massive success. The only one she had was Shang-Chi. And I love how people say, Spider-Man, no way, how Sony did that. All of that was a Sony production. Yes, the only thing the MCU kind of added was Tom Holland. They asked some of their budget, but I heard a lot of that budget was Sony. That was a Sony production because Sony got Norman Osborn. Sony got Dr. Octopus. All those villains were Sony's. Sony made. And they made $1 billion. That's why that film is so loved, because you got the villains like Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus and even Electro to a certain extent. But those two are still arguably one of the best villains in modern live action movie history. They're up there with Heath Ledger's Joker because they were well taken care of. They were developed properly. They had a purpose. They had a character. The only character that comes close to that is Loki. But we kind of see where he's going. That's why I say, people always say if you have a strong villain, you have a strong movie. If you notice in the mid to early 2000s, what was the biggest selling point? A strong villain. Because they have to make the villain strong enough for the hero to tackle him. The Joker. Jack Nicholson's Joker. Penguin and Catwoman. Superman, Lex Luthor. Superman 2, Zod and the rest of the Kryptonians. Spider-Man, Green Goblin. 2, Doc Ock, Sandman, and Venom in the third. Amazing Spider-Man, Lizard. And the second one, Electro. Now, in your mind, you say to yourself, well, Marvel showed that you don't. Yes, they show that. But we have been living in an era now that we're starting to see the bubble popping. The superhero bubble is popping. Mark Scorsese has said it. Nolan said it. Tarantino has said it. They all have said it. Steven Spielberg has said it. This thing is going to pop, and it's popping. on every angle. And I will talk about Shazam in a minute because there's some stuff I want to talk about. But they're starting to pop, and it's getting worse. And the MCU is instead of duking out this not quality but quantity of bullshit, and we're getting shit like that with She-Hulk was terrible. You can't tell me She-Hulk was the best thing they could do. They're delaying shows, pushing shit back. That's not a good sign. That's what DC was doing early on. Now Disney's doing it. Because Bob Iger sees there's a problem. You need to get time to develop these shows. We can't do this like that. The reason that those movies did so well, they took the time, they developed it, and they got the money, and they kind of did something unique. And they can't recreate it because every character they have done has failed. They tried to do a Black Widow story with a new Black Widow. It bombed because you told a story with Black Widow, but she's already dead. Oh, well, this is Black Widow's sister. Well, add her to the movies. She don't really need her own movie. We didn't really need to see that. Oh, well, we'll do this as a middle part to pinpoint to the Thunderbolt. Huh? It just didn't make any sense. Oh, yeah, we're doing this. I'm like, whatever. But yeah, she's gone, and thank God she is gone. And ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing else to say. But as always, like, subscribe, peace, have a Johnson. See you guys next video.